Hey everyone, welcome to Coach on Command. My name is Aaron Littleton, and I'm the head coach of the Gymnastics Sports Center Storm, two-time AGA champion, and your host for this hour of excitement and wonder. So I've got some familiar colleagues here with me today, and so we're gonna go down the line and let them introduce themselves to you, and then we'll get this party started.
I'm Coach Kaegan, and I'm from Jupiter.
I'm Coach Tracy, and I embrace the blizzard.
All right, so that introduction right there will suffice for us, I guess. I guess it's gonna have to. And so, our main prompt tonight, we're going to be talking about mindset, and we've alluded to it a lot in the past several episodes that we've had about you've got to have your mind in the correct place to be able to be successful in this sport, and so there are a lot of There are all sorts of sayings that allude to the importance of your mindset to anything that you hope to achieve. The probably the most famous one is mind over matter. You can do whatever you need to do as long as you believe that you can do it. And you set your mind to it. You set your mind to doing something that you want to accomplish. And if your mind isn't right, you can literally bring something bad into being by becoming a self-fulfilling prophecy.
You can will yourself into sickness even. The mind's powerful.
Right. And so my favorite one personally is by the great philosopher Aaron Littleton. And it is where the mind goes, the body will follow. And I've never heard anybody say that, but myself. Whatever your favorite quote is, there's no denying that whatever you hope to achieve, your actions all start with your mindset. And so the first question is, what is the proper mindset that you would like to see from your students, that you would like to instill in your students, Kaegan?
I think two of the biggest things in proper mindsets is a can-do attitude. If you walk into really any situation with the I can't do it mindset, you're not going to do it. And the other thing, in sports at least, is a sense of healthy competition among your teammates. Constantly bettering yourself. When one teammate gets a certain skill, you do your best to do it even better than them. Healthy competition is a good thing as long as it stays healthy.
I don't remember exactly where this quote is from, but one quote that I really like is, if whether or not you believe you can do something, you are correct. And I think that's very powerful. Parkour, however, is a little bit different than gymnastics. So I like to see an element, definitely the will to improve. You have to enjoy what you're doing and want to improve in it, and a can-do attitude certainly helps that. But a willingness to have fun with it. Not everything has to be solely based on the grind, and in parkour, at least the average parkour is just out having some fun. There's no score, there's no label. If you land on your feet, typically it's good enough. So I think it's a little bit more fun oriented than skill and perfection based orienting. But there's still a need for a grind along the way, but you got to be willing to have fun with it.
So the thing that I'm going to say is that, number one, obviously you've got to have a multifaceted kind of approach and things that you're trying to instill in them. It's not just one thing, especially when you get to the level when you're trying to compete. And so number one on my list is that you've got to teach them that details matter. You can't just go around and start chucking your body through the air and it's like, oh, nothing matters. It doesn't, that does not help you get any better. And so you've got to start kind of with the foundation that the details matter. You're trying to get them as right as possible. But with that, you've got to understand that, not every rep is going to be the most dramatic moment of your life. It's like, if you make this, and so I grew up a baseball player, and so every kid in America has done it's Game 7 of the World Series. Down by 3 with the bases loaded and 2 outs, and here comes insert my name. Everybody's done that, okay? And so that's not necessarily the vibe you want when you're trying to develop your own mindset in your day-to-day work. And so, but the details do matter. But you don't have to, if you don't make this one, the world isn't going to collapse. You've got to kind of keep everything in perspective. And so the other thing is that goes along with that is that you've got to be about the work and not necessarily the result, especially when you're deep in a process. When you just first started learning something, it's going to take you a while to master it. And so, again, you can't just go into it being like, if I don't make this one, I'm the worst gymnast, which reminds me of that. There's a commercial that I love. It's like this kid in baseball, and he goes, I'm the greatest hitter in the world, and then he tosses the ball up and swings the bat and misses it, and he goes, strike one, and he does that, strike two, and then he's like, and I gotta hit this one, and he throws it up and he misses, he goes, strike three, and he gets kind of sullen like this, and then he goes, I'm the greatest pitcher in the world. It's like you can't necessarily worry so much about the results, especially when you're not ready to compete something. You've got to put in the work. You've got to have the bricks to make the building that you're trying to live in, And so be about the work. The results will come as a result of good work. And so if every day you're coming in and you're doing things the right way, even if you don't have the results to show for them, eventually you will get to where you're trying to go. And then the last thing is, and so details matter, but we are also working towards a goal. And so the goal is we're going to compete this next season or 2 seasons from now or however long. And so you've got to kind of be balanced in between. We are trying to build good habits. We're trying to put in the work. We're trying to work on the details, but also not that crazy a situation that's going on. And I should not come off the floor bawling every single time I don't do this skill perfectly. And so I think that is a good kind of balanced, even kill mindset to have. And those are the things that I'm trying to teach when I'm working with students. And so obviously, it's going to take some time. It's going to take some time to develop this because all kids are like, I just want it now, I want it now, I want it now. And so how long would you say that it usually takes to develop the mindset that you want to see? How long are you working on it?
A grand total of 5 seconds. That's all you need.
Then you will be a failure.
Get used to being disappointed.
There's not really a set time. It's just as long as is needed. We say this a lot, but every kid is different. You're not going to one size fits all gymnastics. It's unlikely for that to work, bordering impossible.
Well, I would have to agree with Kaegan here. It is a very case-by-case basis, but also I would say that sometimes I'm not even worried about getting there. With some students, I'm just worried about starting it because some kids will come in and they're just here because mom made me do this, and they don't want to be here. So right from the outset, their mindset is totally wrong. And working to foster a moment where they start to change their mindset is sometimes the biggest challenge, I feel, especially if they just really don't enjoy what they're being, quote unquote, forced to do. That can be a real challenge. So in those areas, it tends to take a lot longer. Some people come into the gym and they already know they're going to have fun before they get here. It's a gym. They got the trampolines. I can bounce on, sure. It can be fun, and sometimes that can help. So I would say case-by-case basis. But in the students that don't want to be here to start with, sometimes that can take months, if they stick it out.
It's funny that you mentioned kids that do not want to be somewhere, and that made me think instantly again, junior baseball, whatever, little league. Yeah, I got a lot of unresolved issues with
You've got a baseball story for everything.
Yeah, yes, I do. But there was this kid who did not want to be there on my team when I was playing little league, and his parents made him be there, and I would get on first base all the time, and he would immediately hit into the double play. And I was just like, I'm on base, and it's like I'm immediately out after that. And so, yes, love what you were doing, and it will help you. It'll help you be there and not hit 300 grounders to second base where they can turn to. I always try to go into this with the expectation that it's going to take as long as I have and probably longer than that. So if you get a kid and they just made team and it's like, okay, we got 3 months to get you ready for team. We got 6 months to get you ready for team. It's going to take easily that long, and so there's no real time to waste. And I think kind kind of if you go into it like that, where it's like time is of the essence and I really got to kind of move this along, you can try to be as efficient as possible. And so if it's a kid that has been in my program for a long time, I try to start with them as soon as I can. And what I mean by that is, levels ahead of where we're going. And so we've got a full developmental team here, and it goes, we've got our beginners, and then we've got the thing that is the first rung of our developmental program, and that's called intermediate beginners, or we call it IB for short. And so those are the kids who are good beginners. They've kind of been taken out of a regular beginner class because they've shown some promise. We put them in the IB class, and then we develop them from then on. And so from IB, I'm already talking to them about what's going to happen when they're on team. And it's like you've got to kind of start cultivating that mindset. And when you're doing that, it kind of helps you get ahead of the game, because again, it's going to take as long as I have. And even if I've got a couple years, it's like, you want to make sure that those kids are ready. And so the worst thing that can happen is kids make it to team and then just freak out in front of everybody, in front of hundreds of people, and start screaming and crying and, can't do it. And so, you're really doing them a disservice if you're not really trying to work on their mindset early on in their career.
I agree with that.
So last question, Kaegan. So everybody's got a trick, you've got a method, you've got a way of being that you try to instill the things, and that's the best part about coaching, is every coach is a little bit different, and so we can all learn things from each other, and that's kind of part of what we're trying to do with this podcast, is teach things that have worked for us. And so everybody's got a method, a trick that they have for developing a mindset or developing anything. And so how are you trying to develop the mindset you want to see?
Smoke and mirrors.
The Joe Cronin method.
Exactly. No. If you don't come into it as a coach with the correct mindset, you can never expect anybody else to share that mindset. You have to show up, don't give up, get reps, and get it done. That is my personal best way to get the results that you are looking for.
Something to echo what Kaegan said, it is kind of important. Whatever your day is like before you walk into the gym and start teaching kids, you've got to leave your emotions at the door. I'm not saying you can't, be a little bit emotional with the kids, especially if it's a happy moment or something like that. But yeah, for sure, you definitely have to leave your emotions at the door. To my own points, however, I would say that when trying to cultivate a certain mindset or using tricks, tough love can go a long way, but that's a very case-by-case basis, and I would argue that in most cases, actually, tough love is not the way to go if you want to develop a mindset. Typically, that would foster the opposite. It would tend to foster the opposite of what you're trying to develop. But making something that they're doing, even just working out, you can disguise exercise as fun. Sometimes we play parkour tag. That's just intense cardio for the kids. They don't see it that way, though. They think they're having fun playing freeze tag, but then at the end, they're breathing hard, they're sweating. They've had a great workout. So I think in terms of parkour, at least, because parkour is a little bit different from gymnastics, I like to disguise some of my classes, some conditioning classes, as fun. And I think that goes a long way in cultivating that. When I go to parkour, I have fun.
I think that's great, and it's funny because Joe, Mr. Cronin, he's a runner, and that guy will just get up and he will run for an undeterminate amount of time to nowhere in particular for hours and hours and hours, and that is not me.
And then he'll run back.
Yes, and then he'll run back. And then he'll do 12 press handstands and 300 push-ups and eat I was gonna say a crate of tofu. I'm not sure what unit of measurement. I don't know what unit of measure tofu comes in, but yeah, and that was never me. And so I enjoyed basketball, and so what you're saying, it's like baseball's always been my favorite sport, but I was a much better basketball player than I ever was a baseball, and so it always made sense. what you were saying, because basketball, there's a point, get the ball, rebound, shoot the ball, pass it to somebody else. And so, I'd come off and I would just be like, man, I had so much fun. And I'd be like, man, that was a workout.
I'm tired.
Yeah,
Gosh.
I know, yeah, and so I think there is a lot of wisdom in what you're saying. Yeah, you can make it as fun as possible, and we try to do that too. We make it a game, and these kids who are in this sport and in competition gymnastics especially, but I'm sure parkour is no different. They're all type A. They're like, I want to win. I want to be the best. I want to, it's like, so if you're like, hey, who can eat this cookie the fastest? They would, they would turn that into.
I've got some parkour kids that would destroy that challenge.
And so, so my favorite trick really for trying to develop the mindset that I want to see is something that I learned from Mr. Cronin. And he said this, and, he said a lot of things that have really kind of shaped my coaching style. I think another friend of mine, Josh, said, your coaching style is shaped by whatever 60-year-old man taught you gymnastics. and I think there's a lot of wisdom in that. But inspiration is free, is what I'm going to say. So what I mean by that is you can show kids what is next in a menagerie of ways, and it keeps them kind of hungry. It keeps them kind of coming back for more because they want to obtain the next level. And so part of that is we do this thing, and I call it a full squad workout, and that's basically normally team works out with team, mini team works out with mini team, but occasionally on a Friday, and especially when we've got like when we've had some breaks, whether it be during the holiday season or whatever, I'll have a Saturday where I'm like, everybody from IB, mini team, pre-team, team, we're all going to work out together. And it's like 50 kids or however many kids, and they come in. And so the young ones get to see the older ones. Are like, whoa, that's the coolest thing. She just jumped to the high bar. That's the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life. I want to do that. And then you have the older ones who understand that it's kind of their, it's part of their responsibility as older role model type kids to foster their younger teammates.
Another thing that can come from that is if you're one of the older kids seeing the younger kids, you can realize how far you've come quite easily, and that also can be inspirational. Look how much I've grown.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And so that's part of what we do. We also have our team leotards on the wall, and we have the team pictures on the wall, the pictures of the team girls. And so I can't tell you how many times we go to vault over here, and you go set up vault, and then you come back over here and you talk to them and tell them, hey, make sure you're paying attention so we don't fall on our face or whatever. And I just go, and they're just like, and they're just looking at this wall of all the gymnasts who are on team, and it's like you can just see the wheels turning in their head, and it all of that really kind of helps get them in that mindset that, hey, I'm really trying to obtain a goal here. And now that we have championship trophies, occasionally I'll break those out, and I'm like, hey, this is what a championship trophy looks like, and and so we invite them to away meets once a year so that they can really go to a meet and kind of picture themselves really on the floor. All of that kind of stuff really helps develop the mindset that I'm trying to accomplish a goal here, and these are the things that I want. And so once you kind of get them in that aspirational lane, it really is easy to get them to kind of buy into what you're telling them, because they're like, that's what I want. I've seen that. And so the younger, the younger they are, and they see that, and they're just like, wow, this is the greatest thing in the world, and this is all I want to be when I grow up. And so it makes it a little bit easier for you to kind of get them through. And then for the higher levels, I'm just constantly talking to them about their mindset. They're older, they're teenagers, they know, and I'm just like, hey, your attitude's not good right now. I can tell you're not trying. It's like, what we're trying to do. Come on, like, and so you've got to, they're people, they're children, and so you got to kind of bump them back on the straight and narrow. But yeah, both of those things I think will help make your program more more efficient, but also more fun and aspirational for the kids involved.
I do think it, as you said, if you spot someone that's maybe just having a bad day and their mindset's not quite there that day, it is a good idea to gently try to correct their course. I would say gently. Usually depends on the student. Some need a little bit harsher of a bump. But anyways, that could be contagious, and I wouldn't want it to poison a whole day's worth of instruction or workout over one person having a bad day. So that corrective is great.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely true. Absolutely true. Yeah, I mean, sometimes, the thing is, it's not necessarily a bad attitude that I see a lot. It is, they come in and they're teenage girls and they start talking to each other. And when one starts talking, they're just like a flock and they're like, blah, 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 and it's like, get to work. Like, we're not just here. It's like you have each other's phone numbers. Call each other after workout. But while you're
Kids don't call each other anymore.
Yeah, we got.
We don't?
They text.
Whatever. Text, FaceTime, Snapchat, whatever newfangled thing.
Instagram me.
Yes, right. It's like how to get a hold of each other. But during workout, I try to keep them. And they get mad at me. but I, it's my job as the head coach to make sure that they're in the right mindset when they're here. Because if you're thinking about, hey, I gotta go tell Sally about her boyfriend, something, whatever, if you're thinking about that and you're not thinking about a round off back handspring layout you've got to do, there's a good chance that the best thing that can happen is that you do it incorrectly, and so mindset is super important, and you got to try to keep them grounded as much as possible. So, all right, randomly strong opinion of the day, Kaegan.
Oh, directly into it. I do have a statement really quick. I Googled it really quick. Tofu is usually sold in about 14 ounces.
Ugh.
Yeah. No, Mr. Cronin. Yeah. Tofu. Because, again, I told y'all, tragically born without taste buds.
Tofu is actually okay. But no.
Yeah, if you hate yourself.
Have you met me before? I work here. So, my randomly strong opinion of the day started with one thing. And I was going to say that Bohemian Rhapsody by Queen is an overrated song. It's not their best song. It's a good song. It's just not their best song. But I realized that so many bands have this problem. Led Zeppelin's Stairway to Heaven. Nirvana's It Smells Like Teen Spirit. The Beatles' is Come Together. Or Hey Jude. Or Let It Be. Or Yesterday. When there's infinitely better songs than those on the same album. So songs that are overrated need to stop. Either they're the good songs or they're the bad songs. You don't have to have opinion. No, it's just overrated songs are very overrated.
I'm not a fan of the Beatles. I will give you that.
What do you listen to then?
All sorts of stuff.
What's your favorite band? What's your favorite band?
It depends on what vein you're talking about.
Secular rock.
3 Days Grace.
Okay, that's valid.
I heard the three, and I thought you were about to preach and say Three Doors Down.
See,
the best band
both
to
are
ever
good.
exist.
The what band?
The best band to ever exist.
Okay.
Hang on. They only win. Okay, even their worst songs are at least decent, but their best songs are absolute bangers.
Okay.
And so I will have you know that way back in the year, I don't know, early 2000s, I don't know the exact year, my brother, he would play Kingdom Hearts, which is the weirdest game I've ever seen.
It's a great game.
And so I never got into it, but it's at least somewhat visually interesting to watch. And so while he was doing that, playing that for hours on end in my room, I couldn't really do anything else. And so what I did is I got my Walkman. Kaegan doesn't even know what a Walkman is.
Sony.
And,
I do know.
Oh, look at you. All right. And so I got my Walkman, and I would listen to Three Doors Down. And what is Away from the Sun? That's the name of the.
Yeah, that's one of them.
One.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah. And I mean, no, that album's a banger for sure.
Okay,
I enjoyed it.
Then what's your favorite Three Doors Down song? Don't say Kryptonite, because I will cry aggressively.
Actually, so this is
It'll
a
be
hot
his
take.
Kryptonite.
Kryptonite, I think, is one of their more mediocre songs.
Okay, I agree.
Three Doors Down, Not My Time, absolute banger of a song. But also, if you've ever seen the music video, it is a parkour-inspired music video. It's really good.
That's
I
cool.
see. Tracy tying it back in. Very nice.
Okay. So perhaps this is just because I am a little hot-blooded, but 67 degrees is the perfect temperature for an outdoor adventure, in my opinion.
Describe the sky to me.
I just want to know what an outdoor adventure is.
You know,
Hiking,
you can go hiking,
taking
not
a walk.
camping. I'm not a wild man.
You don't like camping?
He's gonna go wrestle a bear in the woods.
Yeah, no, I prefer to wrestle camels. They spit. Anyways, 67's perfect. If you're outdoors and if all you're doing is just sitting there, it could be a little bit chilly. I get it. But if you're doing any sort of physical activity, it's cool enough to where you'll warm up, but you won't start sweating a whole bunch. So you could get in a decent parkour exercise. You could get in some just a workout, or even start working on some skills. And it's perfect because you warm up enough to where you can take off your light jacket, but you won't get so hot that you're sweating to death. So 67 degrees, light breeze from the south, slightly overcast with the sun poking through the clouds on occasion. Perfect.
So, you know what? I don't disagree with that. And generally speaking, there's a wide range in which I'm comfortable, and, you know, I'm from Texas, and so generally I don't mind 100-degree temperatures. But yeah, I could do with some 60s too, as long as it's not like low 60s. That's kind of too much for me. I can't really deal with it. All right, so mine is that and this is gonna ruffle some feathers. I'm gonna tell y'all ahead of time, and that is that I do not find Will Ferrell to be very funny. I don't know how y'all feel about that. Okay, go ahead.
So I find that, to me, he's either consistently making me laugh through a whole movie, or he's consistently failing to impress the entire time through.
Right, and that's a lot of what I was gonna say too, is that number one, he's kind of like the sawed-off shotgun of of comedy. There is a lot of stuff, but does any of it actually hit? You know what I mean? It's just like it's everywhere, and you know he tells a lot of jokes, but but very low percentage of jokes told to actual funny jokes. Now there are a few movies I like. I watched. What was it the other day? Semi-Pro, that's it. Semi-Pro. I lost it for a second. You know, the basketball one, Flint Tropics, where he wrestles a bear or whatever.
I haven't seen it, but I know of it.
Yeah, and so that one's pretty good. Anchorman's okay. I don't really like that. But basically, we just got through the holiday season, and everybody loves Elf. I have no idea why. It is not funny. I'm not particularly a Christmas person, and so that may be part of my aversion to that movie. But everybody's like, dude, we're going to watch Elf. It's the greatest thing in the world. I'm just like, no. Like, it's not even moderately funny. I haven't seen that movie in years and years and years just because it is not funny.
Bah humbug.
Yeah, bah humbug indeed. And so, you know, he has a few decent movies, but it is also somewhat carried by somebody else. You know what I mean? And so just for me, and it's not even that his comedy is mostly stupid. I like stupid comedy if it can be the right type of stupid comedy, but yeah, I know a lot of people know nobody likes your comedy. Will Ferrell, just not for me. All right, and that'll about do it for us. We thank you very much for tuning in. So if you're enjoying this podcast, please remember to like, comment, subscribe, all of that. We are on Facebook. You can find us on Spotify. You can find us on YouTube. So thank you, so much for tuning in. We appreciate it. And please stay tuned for a Jaguar on a jet ski.
And have a flipping great day.
And don't forget to set. Take care.